Now, Community Guard information is coming up for you around about 10:15 this week, today. Last week, there was an appeal as it relates to, I think it was last week, as it relates to an appeal on a holiday home. There was people went inside and messed up this holiday home. Now, the appeal was detailed, do not get me wrong, but it did not tell the full story because it couldn't, because only the pictures can tell the full story. We're going to speak to that property owner now, but if you want to see what people or a person did the inside of this house, go on to our website, highlandradio.com, click Watch Live, or go on to Highland Radio Ireland on YouTube or any of our Facebook pages, and I'll be showing you some of the images of what these people or person did to this house. Sam is the property owner. Sam, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Right, okay. Now, you've had this holiday home. Is it actually this home that you've had in Moville for a couple of decades now?
Yeah, we've had it almost 20 years. It comprises of three apartments, a ground floor apartment and a first and second floor apartment. We never actually used the ground floor apartment, but we used the first and second floor top room for ourselves, and the first floor if we had friends or family come to visit us.
And what kind of state was the ground floor in? It was the ground floor that was the focus of this vandalism. Is that correct?
No, the ground floor was actually vacant. The only damage done there was they broke a window in the door into the kitchen, but there was no actual damage done inside because there was no furniture or anything in that ground floor apartment. All the damage was done in the first and second floor apartments,
okay,
and the entrance hall in the staircase and everything into the apartments.
Right. So, during what period of time did this happen? In other words, the last time you were there, and compared to when you returned.
Well, the property was pretty much vacant prior to lockdown. Obviously, we weren't allowed to travel, etc. But we did keep a regular check on it, and we were actually in the property on the 29th of August, and that's the day that we found the damage. Prior to that was 2 weeks before the 29th of August, and the apartments were intact. So, as I say, on the Monday, the 29th of August, we just did a routine check to make sure everything was okay, and just couldn't believe our eyes when we opened the door.
Yeah, right. So it was 2 weeks, the latter 2 weeks of August, this damage was done. Now, this, and anyone who hopped on to watch the show will see this. This looks like a demolition job. I mean, I don't know how long it might take, or how many people it might take, but this looks like you hired a team to go in and demolish the internals of it, but not remove what they demolished, sort of a thing. So can you describe for listeners in Radioland what these people did to your property?
Well, they basically broke in and with an axe, and they went up the staircase like I have never seen anything like it before. The local guards and the forensic team they said themselves that they had never seen damage like it. It just was the vandalism. There was nothing taken, and it was just they went up the staircase, as you can see in the photographs. The newel posts. They basically tried to take the staircase out, but not for any monetary gain. It was just vandalism. They then went at the walls, the light switches, the sanitary ware, the kitchens, doors, and at one point, actually in the first floor apartment, they actually hacked off the bathroom door, but left the hinges on and about probably 6 inches of the door on, and brought that door upstairs, put it into what would have been my daughter's bedroom, and just smashed the place to complete smithereens, the TV. Just unbelievable. The photographs don't actually give enough detail, but the photographs are appalling, as I'm sure you agree.
They're unbelievable. And it's not like copper was stripped from the walls. It's not like the wood was taken to be burned. It's not like this was like a pack of animals that went in there for however long, I don't know, and as much as they could possibly destroy, they destroyed.
That's correct.
What's the damage? I mean, well, we'll talk about the actual, monetary cost of this, but what are we looking at here?
Well, we're still assessing it, and the staircase was that badly damaged that, I've had a couple of joiners look at it, and the feeling is that we probably will have to replace the whole staircase because it's been damaged beyond repair. The number of walls that are going to have to be replastered, kitchen replaced, sanitary ware. At this stage, we're looking at probably between 30 and 40,000 euro of damage.
Yeah. What about the emotional impact this has had on you, Sam? Because there was a notable pause, for me anyway, when you mentioned, them accessing your daughter's room. Did I pick up correctly in that? And how has this made you feel personally, the emotional element of it?
Well, we have always had, a great respect for Moville, and it's just sort of shattered us to the extent that my wife and my daughter really don't want to return.
What do you think has happened here? I mean, do you feel this is anything personal? Do you think that people just went in there? Like, was there any evidence of drinking or smoking in there? Like, what do you think? There can be never any justifiable motivation for anything like this. I think that's clear. What do you think went on here?
I think that the property was empty, and the perpetrators gained access, and it's clear from the top apartment that they rearranged the furniture, and they had there was evidence of drinking alcohol. There was pizza boxes with half-eaten pizzas in them. There was evidence of smoking and cigarettes, and nobody in our family smokes, so there was definitely that. They had readjusted the furniture to an extent where they were using it, whether it be as a den or a drinking or gathering place. I don't know. The guards did do a door-to-door inquiry, and there was youth seen leaving the building, I think a few days prior to us coming down, but they were wearing hoodies, and they said that possibly there was one female as well. But they had used we had the water turned off, thankfully, in the premises, but they had used the toilet. And as I say, we believe there definitely was more than one person in there.
Do you get the impression that this all happened in one day, or they may have been returning over the course of that fortnight?
I would say that they've been in and out of there, definitely, on a number of occasions, without a doubt.
And the axe, and I'm gonna, for those watching, I'm gonna pause the image on the axe. To me, it seems really quite distinctive. It's got a green and yellow handle, almost like the Donegal GEA colours. That obviously was used. Was that on the premises, or did they bring that with them?
No, that was not on the premises, and that was sitting, as you can see, it's sitting on the coffee table, and there was also a crowbar on the floor, which you can sort of see in one of the photographs as well. That was obviously what was used to do the damage and to gain access. But I agree with you that axe is very distinctive, and I'm sure that there's somebody somewhere that will look at that and say that axe.
There's an axe missing. Yeah, exactly. There's an axe missing from the back of someone's van, or a shed, or a utility room, or something. Someone's gone looking for a yellow and green handled axe and is wondering where it's at. And this is where it gets quite important, because this means that maybe there's someone out there. It might be quite difficult. It's not actually a yellow and green handle. The handle's green, but the axe's body is yellow. Just so we're clear, the rubberized section is green. The body of the axe is yellow. There could be someone that knows it's someone in their family is really what I'm getting at, or at least they supplied this equipment, and that would leave someone in a very difficult position. But I think people are going to have to step up and do the right thing here. This is really, really quite significant, and as you say. An attack like this is going to feel personal, Sam. It's going to feel personal to you too as well. There's just and your family, because you've already talked of the impact it's had on your family, but it's going to feel personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Has there been any other information other than youths spotted exiting and entering the building?
No, the guards, in fairness now, have been very helpful, and they've had forensic out, and they are hopeful that there will be DNA of the bits and pieces that they took, the axe, the crowbar, cigarettes. There was a glass there, empty drinking cans and things like that there. So they have been in touch with me, and they're working on it, and they have done door-to-door inquiries, and I've spoken to some of the local people that live nearby, and the owner of the pub across the road, and they haven't seen anything. But I'm confident that if they do, that they'll be very happy to help.
What do you do next now, Sam? In terms of trying to get this back to the way it was before, or I don't know, what are you going to do? I mean, obviously it has to go in and be assessed and costed and all that type of stuff. Are you ready for that?
Well, we have, as I say, we've had the insurance loss adjusters out, and they advised me to employ, because of the extent of the damage, they've advised me to employ my own loss adjuster to do a detailed report as to the damage, and we're still working our way through that. It's as I say, the staircase is a bit of a worry, because it's been so badly damaged that it may be that we have to take the whole staircase out of the property and replace it, which that one item would be in excess of €10,000, I believe.
Mm. All right. And listen, it's great that they're doing their forensic work, the DNA, all that type of stuff. But look at, if this is young people, how you get a match. What effectively I'm saying is this is going to require maybe having real life suspects as well, that things can be cross referenced with. It's not like the telly where we have this database and they run it through and all of a sudden two suspects pop up. So this is going to require the local community to pass on any information they may have to the guards. Can you give us a more specific idea of where this is? It's in Moville. It's an old barracks, which, as you say, has been converted to 3 apartments. You mentioned there's a pub across the road. Is there adjoining property? Can you describe to us its location?
Yeah, well, it's pretty central, and the Trollroom and pub is opposite, and there used to be a restaurant on one side of it, which was destroyed by fire, I'm sure maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and it's pretty close to there's a children's park there, and the water sports area. So you're right in the centre at James Street, just at the traffic lights. If you were coming into Moville from Greencastle and you hit the traffic lights, you take a left, and that you're on James Street, and you're on the left there.
And given the level of damage and destruction here, you would imagine someone was walking past and heard something as well. I don't know, maybe it's very incredibly well insulated. I don't know, Sam. But there would have been a riot going on in this building. You would imagine anyone close to it is bound to have heard or seen something. Well,
the perpetrators didn't do any damage to the ground floor apartment,
right,
which would have been, they purposely would have avoided that, because yes, you're absolutely correct that anybody walking past would have heard that. The damage would have been confined to the first and second floor, and the access was from the rear. Now there is quite a a substantial back area to the garden and the sort of a back lane, so there wouldn't be an awful lot of pedestrians on the back lane. but I agree with you that the noise must have been horrendous, because, as I say, I don't think anybody could. You couldn't do the damage without. It's a complete workout.
Yeah. Even the noise of smashing a toilet, it's under pressure, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? That would have made a racket. The length of time it would have taken to destroy the stairs as they did, other damage, smashing of walls, random stuff like pulling out the kitchen. It serves absolutely no purpose. There must have been like a pack of animals, but the throwing TVs, yet the oven seems relatively untouched. I don't know. None of it makes sense, of course, but this is something that took an awful lot of energy. Depending on how many people were at it, it took a bit of time as well. Yeah,
well, the fact that there was only one axe would sort of lead you to believe that it was that was the singular instrument that was used, and quite possibly maybe there was one person doing it and other people looking on. It's maybe an act of bravado. I don't know. It's hard to get your head around. If somebody breaks into some place to steal something, although that's wrong, you can sort of say, well, they broke in and they stole something, or they broke in and they were using it as somewhere to sleep or to drink. But this, I just struggle to. I've had nightmares about it. That I just struggle to get my head around the fact that anybody would actually want to go in and leave a place in such a state that they know that somebody is going to come in and find this and leave us in the position that we are, just struggling to get our head around it.
Yeah, you are offering a substantial reward for any information that leads to a prosecution. Tell us about that as much as you want to on air, Sam.
Well, as I say, we do feel so strongly about it that, and I've had a chat with the guards about it, and we know that the people of Moville are good people, and somebody knows somebody that has been involved in this, and all I would ask is do the right thing and come forward anonymously or whatever way that you want to, either through yourself or through the guards, and there's a substantial cash reward at the end of it.
Like, I mean, none of us would ever want to think it's our young people, but I think if it were mine, I think they would need to speak to the guards, and it might straighten them out a little bit, if that makes sense. As hurtful and as tough as that might be, and it could be any of our children at any time, by the way, because I don't know what was going through the minds, but clearly they got caught up in a situation or whatever was happening. But I think also too that the axe is really quite distinctive, and I think maybe people could focus on that a little bit as well as everything else, because it was left behind. It's sort of like a medium-sized axe. It's bigger than a hatchet, I think. Is it axe size or sort of a mid-size implement, or is the hatchet?
It would be the handle on it would probably be about 14 inches long. Okay. I would guess it's the sort of thing, as you say, somebody would maybe have in their shed for chopping sticks or something like that there. But it's quite substantial. It's not a toy, and I'm sure that somebody will look at that photograph and go out to their shed and say that's my axe.
So it's got a yellow body, it's got a green handle, and as I say, it jumps straight out at you as sort of like the Donegal colours, and obviously just its regular metal head. As I say, Sam, these things are. It feels like an absolute violation. How do you rehabilitate? How do you rehabilitate you and your family's sort of relationship with this property again?
Well, as I say, we're just trying to come to terms with it, and it's at this point in time, the girls are of a mind that they really don't want to go back in there. But, time's a good healer. We'll see.
Okay. Well, listen, I hope in some way this is helpful, that someone who knows something gets in contact with the Gardaí, or not even if there's a mistrust of the Gardaí for whatever reason, local parish priest or also whatever it might be. But I think anyone should really want the people responsible for this to sort of have to face up to it. I think it would be good for them, because if you're capable of this kind of prolonged, sustained abuse of a property, what do you do next week or the week after or in a month? Do you know what I mean? Because and maybe it's just a group of people and excitement and drink and impressing members of the opposite sex or whatever it might be, or the same sex. Things ran away with themselves. But I think they need to face up to this, I think, and the community would be very forgiving. I think if those responsible stepped up and faced this, okay, I think it would set them up for the rest of their lives effectively. I don't want to overstate it either, Sam, but I think it's that type of an instant. And, sometimes you just have to do the right thing.
Absolutely. And, can I take the opportunity to thank you for airing it? Thank you.
No, it's anything we can do, Sam. All right, best wishes to you and your family.
Thanks a lot.
All right, take care of yourself. All right, that is Sam there. He's the owner of the holiday home in Moville. He's been there going back and forth for 20 years. It's the old barracks there. You heard him describe its location, converted into 3 apartments. The first floor and the top floor were the targets of that rampage, is the only thing you could describe it as. The bottom apartment or bottom section of the building was empty, basically untouched. But it definitely happened in the last 2 weeks of August, because they were there mid-August. They returned on the 29th of August and discovered this damage. So it's a 2-week window. €40,000 worth of damage, and a substantial reward for any information that will lead to a prosecution is being offered. And again, though, I just think sometimes it happens. People step up and go, look, that was me. And I think they would benefit greatly from that, because there's a lot of evidence there. There's a lot of DNA evidence on cigarettes and on axes, and people might not be on a database at the moment if such a thing exists, but down the line this stuff can be cross-references. So,